Good afternoon. On behalf of Schertz-Cibolo Universal City ISD Board of Trustees, SIPL Principal Michael Keogh, myself, Paige Maloney, proud superintendent, and the whole SIPL school community, we are honored to welcome Governor Abbott, Senator Campbell, and Representative Schoolcraft to John A. SIPL Elementary. We are proud of our pre-K programs and the outcomes we see for our youngest learners and their families. Nearly 40% of our families are military connected. Some of our military families with pre-K students stand with us today. Thank you for your service. We are committed to supporting them and all qualifying students from the very beginning of their educational journey. Thanks to legislation passed in HB2 in the 89th legislative session, children of classroom teachers are now eligible for pre-K. And we have a teacher here at SIPL Elementary, right here in the back, who is benefiting from this opportunity. What a gift to her child and her family. Like many school districts, SCUC is committed to ensuring that teachers and pre-K programs are dual certified in early childhood and special education to ensure that our youngest learners get the best start possible. Today's announcement reflects a shared commitment to early childhood education and student success in early learning programs across state agencies. I applaud the Texas legislature and Governor Abbott for taking the steps to expand access to affordable, high-quality and pre-kindergarten, high-quality child care and pre-kindergarten for all students in our state. We are so grateful for the families of pre-K students who have joined us here today. Here in SCUC, we are focused on the 3 Ps: purpose, people, and partnerships. And our #1 partnership is with our parents. We are grateful for this opportunity to stand with our elected officials who are committed to excellence for young learners and their families. With that, I'm pleased to welcome Governor Abbott.
Thank you to Superintendent Maloney. Also to the other guests we have here, and I look up and I said we got a couple of other state representatives out there. Good to have you guys out here. But we got Representative Schoolcraft as well as Senator Campbell up here. We also have Chairman Holt, who will be speaking here in a little bit. And we have behind me some of the committee members on the committee that I am about to talk about. I'm also pleased to have these parents here because the real reason why we passed this bill, the real reason why we're having this announcement today is because of the importance of helping parents across the entire state be able to access quality and affordable early child care and child education for their children. And the legislation I'm going to be talking about makes that a lot easier. I signed, or let's say early childhood and education and care is a pressing need for parents across the state. I signed a law to help parents get the early childhood education and care that they need. Today I'm announcing the Governor's Task Force on Early Childhood Education and Care. As a result of House Bill 117 by Representative Schoolcraft in the House and Senator Campbell in the Senate. The goal is to evaluate child care and early learning programs across all state agencies. We want to improve the quality of those programs. We want to make it easier for providers to operate. That, in fact, will in turn lower the costs for parents. We also want to make it easier for parents to access programs like this. And we want, while we're doing all this, we want to make sure that we root out waste, fraud, and abuse in the system. The task force will work with the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, with the Texas Education Agency, and with the Texas Workforce Commission to determine what works, what doesn't work, and what needs to be improved. The task force will submit recommendations to the legislature by December 1st of this year. This cause became particularly pressing in light of events that surfaced in Minnesota. Many so-called child care centers were recently revealed as scams. I just launched an investigation here in Texas to ensure that our child care centers are all legitimate and that parents and taxpayers are not being taken advantage of. But rooting out fraud is only one of the goals of this task force. Another goal is to improve the efficiency and the quality of care that Texas children receive. We must put an end to the endless bureaucracy, the unclear standards of care, and the inflated costs that make it difficult for parents to get the early childhood care and education that they need for their children. The members of the task force include 2 pre-K teachers, Reagan Curran and Tracy Hansen, who are with us here today. Thank you all very much. They also include 2 representatives from the Texas Early Learning Council, a representative from the Department of State Health Services, a representative from Head Start, and 5 public members that will provide critical insight into the problems that early child educators and parents face today. One is the chair, and that's Peter Holt, who will be speaking here shortly. Another is Jeff Austin. Another is J.P. Puckett. Another is Grant Coates and Nancy Wyndham. Also, there is a steering committee for this group. It's made up of Mike Morath, the Texas Education Agency Commissioner, Stephanie Muth, the Executive Commissioner of the Health and Human Services Commission, and Joe Esparza, the Commissioner from the Texas Workforce Commission. Together, they will make top quality care for children in Texas more affordable and more accessible. And now to tell you more about this is the chief author of this House Bill 117, and that is Representative Schoolcraft.
Well, thank you, Governor. I'm actually going to take a minute or two for a little point of personal privilege. I wanted to say a word about the namesake for this school. You know, very few people ever pay attention to that. We're at John A. Sipple Elementary, or as I knew him, Mr. Sipple. Mr. Sipple was an early pioneer in this community. I got to know him over the years as a substitute teacher. He had a small Western Auto store in what later became Universal City, but he would come to class and teach us, and he literally was the favorite teacher for my sister, my brother, and me in 6th grade. He had a quirky sense of humor. Everybody loved him. He was just a fantastic man. Also connected, though, with him, and my remembrances are his son, David. David Sipple and I have been best friends since 5th grade at Schertz Elementary. We went all the way through school together, including University of Texas as fraternity brothers. So I'm really excited that David is able to be here today. Raise your hand, David. David Sipple. Next to David Sipple is Louis Borgfeld. Louis is also a son of John Sipple. Louis's father was killed in World War II. Mr. Sipple married Lou's mother and raised him as his father. And both of those men are wonderful legacies to John A. Sipple, better known as Mr. Sipple. So thank you all for being here. All right. Now to the business at hand. Mark LaHood and John Lujan, fellow state reps, thank you for being here. Senator Campbell, this is fantastic. I will tell you this, House Bill 117 was a breeze to get through the House compared to the difficulty she had in the Senate. I didn't help. I was almost a hindrance on some of that, but she worked tenaciously and she managed to get it passed in the Senate, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, House Bill 117 the governor has talked about. In short, it's about coordination, accountability, and quality, making sure that the early childhood system that we have in Texas is efficient and effective and does the best possible job for our children. Early childhood education, of course, is very, very important to the governor. I want to give a brief outline of his leadership in education in general. Last year, with the governor's leadership, the Texas legislature appropriated $8.5 billion in new money to public education system. That's unprecedented. There had never been anything like that. A significant part of that money was targeted toward early childhood education. For the first time, the the legislature finally recognized the absolute critical part that early childhood education plays in the overall effectiveness of our schools. If we don't start them well, they will never catch up. We know that by making the early investments in a child's life, it helps ensure they'll be successful for the rest of their life. So I was very, very pleased when the governor contacted me and asked if I would author this legislation. His staff worked with my staff. We crafted a bill that I think has a potential for a very profound effect on the effectiveness of education in Texas. Governor, your leadership on that has just been phenomenal. All of these efforts I've mentioned about our appropriations, other bills we have done, they all share one thing in common, and that's the clear vision of Governor Abbott. He knows and he pushes us to remember that early childhood education is foundational. It's not optional. When we support young learners, we also support their families, and we help secure Texas' future. So, Governor, on behalf of Texas students, Texas parents, Texas educators, we thank you for your leadership, your commitment to education, and your commitment to ensuring every Texas student has a chance to succeed. So, thank you.
Thank you. Now, Senator Donna Campbell.
Thank you. And Governor, thank you so much for addressing issues regarding early childhood education. These efficiencies will be readily identified with this new task force when we align those that share responsibility for early childhood education come together and are aligned. So when we align HHSC, TEA, and Texas Workforce Commission through a formal steering committee, we will find efficiencies. And we all know things truly do work better if we have efficiencies. But it's important to note this is not creating any bigger government, no new programs. This is not a trigger for any automatic funding. This is a task force to see how we can improve early childhood education. The task force will be giving recommendations to the legislature as to how we can improve kindergarten readiness, looking at child care capacity, as well as, again, spending funds efficiently. You know, Texas is serious about improving learning, improving education. We take that seriously. And it starts by streamlining the system for the next generation. You know, it is said that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. But the second best time to plant a tree is now, and that's what we're doing. And thank you, Governor. Thank you, Representative Schoolcraft.
Thank you. And now Chairman Holt.
Yeah, thank you, Governor. It's an honor to chair the task force. I'll be brief. I have 4 kids. One of them is 4, and so I'm wildly impressed that they have been so good. That's well done. Better than I can do. I just want to say a couple things. One is, for years now, there's been momentum in this space, but in the last 2 legislative sessions, there's been bipartisan, unified focus on this issue of child care and especially early education, and that's very impressive as just a Texan to watch. And so thank you for your collective leadership in the group. And I'll say a couple things. One is that there's undeniable evidence and proof that if we invest in quality and access in early child care, the return is undeniably huge. And so the fact that the governor, your office, and I know your wife is also very focused on this issue, which is important. The returns that we will see as Texans as we focus on this issue will be huge. And so I look forward to leading this great group that you put together, that we put together, on focusing on improving quality and access. And I'm very proud and happy that we have a really large group of support behind us. So thank you, Governor, and I'm excited to get started.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And go Spurs. This is a remarkable team that will work swiftly toward very meaningful results, knowing that the deadline is approaching with each passing day for them to get recommendations to the Texas legislature. The reason for those recommendations is so we can take up those recommendations in this next session and make sure we can pass even more laws that will make sure that the delivery of quality early education for our children will be enhanced, be a superior product, and every kid across the state of Texas will get off to a great start. We'll take a few questions. Go ahead.
Why make this announcement in shirts out of every other city in Texas?
Well, because the author of it is from here. It's,
And it's my district.
and it happens to be the district
That I get
for both the House member and the Senate member who were involved in this. And so I thought we would come to where they are to make this announcement.
Yeah, very good.
Senator Campbell, what were some of the challenges that you faced trying to get this across the finish line with the Senate?
Thank you so much for that question. You know, as you know, we've got a very conservative Senate. And one thing that we don't want is just another committee, anything that may grow government, add to spending, right? So when I explained that this is really about finding efficiencies, then we got it over the finish line. Thank you for the question.
I know there's no one at the table, but if anyone from HHSC or TWC is in the room, I know there's supposed to be a progress update on January 30th on the governor's order on waste, fraud, and abuse in child care. Is there any updates that we have on that?
So they are here, but I'll answer for them. And that is, listen, they're making progress toward coming up with the information that I requested, and I'll be getting it at the appropriate time. And we will provide information to the public when I get it.
Senator, you mentioned that, Texas is serious about improving education and learning. In addition to this issue, one of the things that we've heard from teachers is that they're worried about safety in the classroom. I know 2 years ago, in San Antonio, we had an instructional aide who died after being attacked by a student. And I guess this is all for all three of you, but what can Texas do to support students, or what can Texas do to support teachers who are injured in the classroom by students?
Well, I can tell you that we support teachers, and we support everybody that is being advanced on by violence, you know what I mean? It is a special situation when you have a student and teacher. And I don't know that there is an easy, clear-cut answer. So we're still looking at ways, and most certainly if anybody has a way to solve that problem, then we're all ears. But it's a work in progress, and you hate to say in progress because sometimes progress moves slow. And violence against a teacher, whether the student understands it or not, is not something that we want to delay. So we have to just persevere because the blessing of perseverance is success. We will find some way. I mean, it's not a balance between learning and trauma or violence. It's how do we stop the violence, stop the anger, stop the playing out of behaviors or whatever is wrong toward another person. And that doesn't just really apply to schools, teachers, and students. That's what we're seeing in our society. And we've got to pray for love, support friendship, try to find how we can help those who are aggressive and violent. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to add a little bit to that answer. There was something I was fairly involved with last session. Well, first I'll start off by saying trying to legislate away this problem is not, I mean, we're going to have to address it, and I'll talk about how we have, but, we also recognize it as a societal problem. We have these kinds of problems with violence and discipline in schools, I think, because parents aren't teaching their children how to behave and holding them accountable. Now, from a legislative perspective, we did pass House Bill 6 last year. It went into effect this year, so it's just getting started. But it was called the School Discipline Reform Bill. And it removed a lot of roadblocks that the administrators in the schools have when it comes to removing violent and disruptive students. It gives teachers more rights when it comes to dealing with violent and disruptive students, meaning it's very, very difficult for administrators to put a child back into the classroom over the objection of the teacher. Additionally, for the first time, we have expanded the ability of schools to expel students for certain offenses that they commit off campus. Prior to this, you could have a student charged with assault, aggravated assault, gun offenses, and the schools could not prevent that student from coming in and making additional threats. Now they can expel a student who they deem to be a serious threat of serious crime, even though the offense was not created on campus. So we did pass legislation trying to help this. I don't say it's the absolute solution. Again, if we can get parents involved, I think we'll be even more effective. But we are addressing it and trying to address it through legislation.
One last thing on that, and that is over the past 3 years, Texas has added more than $3 billion for schools across the state for safety measures at all campuses.
One more question, folks. Governor, I was speaking to those schools. A school in North Texas made news over the weekend hosting the Islamic Games, including, at least initially, and to be taken down, co-sponsored by CARE of New Jersey. CARE, he designated a foreign terrorist organization. What are your thoughts on all that?
First, I will tell you that any type of association by any public school with an organization that's been designated as a foreign terrorist organization, that school is in a lot of trouble. Second, more specifically, in 30 minutes, you'll be getting a release from me about my announcement about what we are doing about that school. Good job.
Pleasure to meet you.
So good to see you.
You too. Thank you for what you're doing out there. So good to meet you.